Off 3 o'clock, Salford City against Accrington Stanley, final pre-season game. It's a weird hush around the ground, always is before kick-off, but once the game gets going, sound does increase. That makes it a little bit easier. Still, as ever, very strange in these empty stadia. Richie Tell, the misplaced pass to the right, gives the ball back to Accrington, but he makes amends, wins the ball back, coming to right back. He's being tracked down very closely by that Accrington player, and the ball eventually going out for a goal kick to the Amis. Hladky, we saw him in action for the first time against Stockport on Tuesday. Very agile, very high things expected of him.
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. Well, as I mentioned to you before the game, I thought looked like he showed great athleticism and agility around the box, which is good. It's what you want from a keeper. It's 2 good attributes, and it'd be nice to see how he can progress today and see what Salford have got between the sticks going into next season. I think you mentioned just a moment ago how strange it is to have such a quiet stadium as the game is going on. It is bizarre. It's my first time experiencing it, and I mean, even being able to hear all the words the players are saying is unusual.
Right, we have now got those numbers through for Accrington, which will make things a little easier as Tom Elliott wins the ball up from Oscar Threlkeld. Is cleared away from the back by Stanley. It will be a Salford throw once the ball's back in deep on the right hand side. Tom Clark heading back down to fetch the ball, but one of the things that stands out, Ian Henderson with the captain's armband on. We talked about, and Graham's talked about, those players who've come in, you know, they're looking for leaders, they were looking for players with experience. Henderson at 35 with the captain's armband, would that be a smart choice as the new club captain?
Yeah, I think there was always the possibility of it. He comes in as a man with a lot of experience, 35 years of age, as you mentioned, scored a lot of goals for Rochdale, a lot of goals in the leagues above this one, so it makes a lot of sense. I think he does strike me as someone who could be a leader in the changing room, and clearly he has been that since he's come in, with 2 goals to his name as well already. He's clearly won Graham over early on into his Salford career.
Here's Clark, passes back to Turnbull, played the full game away at Stockport on Tuesday. Jordan Turnbull, after his summer arrival from Northampton Town, playing the ball back now to Václav Hladky. Very good on both feet, something I noticed in the warm-up. He was using both his left and his right foot, something I hadn't noticed on Tuesday, but have now. Salford break on the right-hand side. Brandon Thomas-Asante trying to get round Burgess, does get the cross into back post. Henderson's there, heads down, heads wide. First chance of the game for Salford, still 0-0.
Good move from Salford as well, and I think we've just seen the dynamic of that front two of Tom Elliott and Brandon Thomas-Asante there. Asante's pace and ability to get in behind and occupy those channels, while Elliott's going to be playing prominently with his back to goal and as a link-up man up front, and it's a nice dynamic. I think it'll be trouble for Accrington Stanley's defenders. Asante there getting in behind his former teammate Burgess and getting the better of him. It was a nice bit of play from the youngster.
He's just settling down, looking at that Salford formation. It seems very fluid from Graham Alexander. I know they've been working a lot on shape, but you know, you're looking at the minute, Ash Hunter's playing just in the midfield, Henderson's up top, Thomas Asante's wide. When the teams first came out, we were wondering if it was going to be 3 at the back. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it is the 4-3-3 that we did speculate on as well. As Accrington pick up a free kick on the edge of the box. But it's nice to have those options. A lot of these players can occupy a few different positions, the likes of Asante, Henderson, Hunter as well. Can all play in a few positions across the park. So Graham's got those options, he's got that fluidity, and it keeps the defenders guessing as well, keeps them where they're going to be, where they're going to crop up on the pitch. It's a lovely option for Graham to have.
Accrington lining up this free kick's about 25 yards out, just to the right of centre, and standing over it's Joe Pritchard. Can't quite get the number of the player on the right hand side, but Pritchard with the right foot is the favourite. He does hit it like that, and it's saved by Hladky, palm down. Arriving was Callum Johnson, but free kick given in Salford's favour inside the area. It's quite deceiving as it dipped there, the free kick.
Yeah, it was a well-whipped free kick from Accrington. A nice area as well, dips right in front of Hladky, making it difficult for him, but he palms it down. Salford win the free kick and the danger was averted. The first bit of action
5-minute mark here at the Peninsula Stadium. Still goalless for anyone just joining us, as Hladky picks out Elliott up front, laid off to Towell. He is that obvious target man at 6'4", the former Millwall forward. And a crunching challenge comes in from Jason Lowe on Matty Butcher. Leaves his opponents on the ground. They seem to win the ball, but maybe a bit too much in that one. But that's maybe just the competition showing.
Yeah, I think it was fair but strong. I mean, I heard it. I heard the challenge from all the way over here. I suppose the stadium is quiet, but he did win the ball. Did he leave that trailing leg? The referee says so.
Referee this afternoon, Lee Doughty. He's a regular official here at the Peninsula Stadium during the league campaigns. Overseeing this one today is Turnbull. Heads the Accrington free kick away, but the visitors win it back, and it's now with Dion Charles on the right-hand side. And the cross comes in. Threlkeld watching it all the way. He's been closely marked by, or pressured, should I say, by Callum Johnson. Ball out for a corner to Accrington Stanley. Very hard to read the numbers on the back of those shirts, the white numbers. Those sit in line with the kit, but it's not the easiest to see. Down in this corner now is Pritchard again. Looking to whip this ball in. Plenty of height standing out in that Accrington back line as the ball comes into the back post, headed away by Salford's own tall man Tom Elliott. And out on the far side, on the right for an Accrington throw, trying to keep the pressure on.
I think Salford will have to be careful from those corners and giving away too many to Accrington as the game progresses. We know about Cam Burgess and his threat in the air, but you also look at the man taking the throw in for Accrington now. Number 5 is an incredibly tall player as well, and will also be a threat from set pieces, you have to imagine.
In comes the long throw from Sykes, headed back by Clark to Hladky. And Hladky rolling the ball out to Threlkeld. Looking forward, trying to get Salford back upfield. Accrington had the better of the last couple of minutes. It's Clark back out to Threlkeld on the right-hand side. Salford still playing in the season's training kit, the playing kit yet to arrive. And the goal kick taken briskly. Forward it goes from Ross Sykes down the right-hand side, looking to pick out Dion Charles. Turnbull covering there, sends the ball high in the air, and that has cleared the stand quite considerably. Bouncing out just over onto Moore Lane. Accrington meanwhile whipping another cross in. It's just over the bounding man, but it comes down to Tom Allen for the shot. Slices that one wide of the near post from Hladky.
Just a little bit loose from Salford there at the back as that cross came across. It wasn't dealt with too well. Number 7 found himself with a lot of space at this back post, probably more than he even imagined he'd get.
Salford moving forward. Towell on the right hand side, he just loses out to Allen, who will be a Salford throw. Threlkeld into Towell, back to Threlkeld. Accrington very quick to close down, not giving Salford too much space or time on the ball. Imagine that will be a feature of their play. Try and close out the trouble before it gets too much. Stifle Salford and then use the more physical players to win the ball back. Threlkeld threads the ball down the right. Burgess just holding off Elliott. Then the linesman signalling the throw in Salford's favour. Burgess expecting the free kick there. Threlkeld lining this one up. Towell making the short option. Turns it to Threlkeld, wins a corner. Or it should be a corner. It's not given, it's given as a goal kick to Accrington. 9 minutes gone and still goalless. It's been a very cagey opening 10 minutes, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think both teams have lined up not knowing what to expect from the other team. Salford, a few new players playing in a slightly different formation as well, and Accrington likewise. So both teams just feeling each other out for the time being, getting used to the games. Accrington pick up another free kick in the Salford half.
Yeah, not too sure about that one. The ball being placed down by the Stanley captain, just inside the centre circle. Asking his teammates to come very narrow here. Almost highlighting Salford where this ball is going to go as it is hoiked forward. Reaches the area, headed away by Turnbull away from Sykes. And Henderson battling in the middle to win possession. It comes off Sykes and Torre picks up on the loose ball, sends it forward. It's behind Henderson. Can't find a teammate there. Comes back to Andrew Hughes. Now Sykes. Sykes again. Across to Hughes and Burgess. Coming to the left-hand side, receives possession now. Back in the middle into Hughes. Hughes spreading the play down the right. Flicked on. Out of play though from Accrington. Salford throw over in the shadow of the north stand. Very overcast and somewhat breezy afternoon here at the Peninsula Stadium. Torre picks out Tom Sasante and Henderson. Big season ahead for Brandon Thomas Sasante, you feel?
Yeah, he's one of the exciting players in this squad, and you know what he could go on to become. He's a huge prospect after a good breakout season for Salford last season. I remember vividly how well he played at Boundary Park around Christmas time as well, and you're hoping he can push on and progress from that.
Threlkeld whips across in from the right. It does come via Tom Sasante to Henderson as he diverted the ball goalwards straight at Tony Savin, and the goalkeeper makes what you'd expect as a routine save. A couple of yards either way. Could have been the opening goal as Henderson closes down Savin's clearance. Elliott now feeds the ball in. It was neither here nor there from the front man, and Savin gets away with one.
Yeah, two good proactive bits of work from Henderson there up front. Gets across his man as the cross comes in and gambles on the cross, winning it, and as you said, the keeper makes the save he's supposed to make, and then blocking that goal kick from the Accrington goalkeeper, which looks like it might have knocked the wind out of his sails as the physios are called on for Salford. We saw moments ago Accrington Stanley had a free kick in the Salford half, and Salford, as they won the ball back, they sprung to life. They looked like they were ready for a quick counter-attack, which you might expect to see with the pace that they've got up front. We saw them score a good, fast-paced counter-attacking goal against Lincoln City as well. So it won't come as any surprise that Salford are trying to add another string to their bow with the counter-attack, with the likes of Hunter, Henderson, Asante going forward. There's plenty of threat in behind.
Henderson is still on his feet. He's going to come off to the near touchline for probably another assessment. Obviously, I hope it's all okay. It seems to be. Injuries are the last thing managers want in pre-season. Thumbs up from club doctor Mubin Ibrahim down on the side here, so all should be okay. Sort of commitment that Salford can look forward to see though from Ian Henderson, former Rochdale man, formerly of Rotherham as well. Of course, our visitors here this time next week in round one of the Carabao Cup. Game, of course, behind closed doors, but you can buy a live stream for £10. And the good news this week is that on a mobile web browser, you can now watch it. So you're not restricted to laptop or desktop, but it cannot be streamed, on smart TV or games console. So please don't buy it if that's your intention. Same for season tickets though. The league matches, an access code included within home season tickets. That's all the details on salfordcityfc.co.uk/tickets. But you can now watch on mobile and tablet through a web browser like Safari. If you're using Apple or the Android equivalent, that should all be okay. As for here, still goalless. 13-14 minutes gone now at the Peninsula Stadium. But just looking at Accrington, it's another good test for the first team. I mean, I know we covered Stockport on Tuesday. As you will have seen, anybody watching, it was a largely B-development side that played. As for these main first team games though, Crewe, Lincoln, Preston, now Accrington, Graham's really put the team through the paces.
Yeah, he has. It's a tough challenge. Another tough challenge, as you just mentioned. Accrington, a League One side, towards the lower end of League One last season they finished, but they gave Salford a good game when we met them in the Leasing.com Trophy last season, towards the back end, and it's been a good game so far.
Henderson receives the ball in a good position and feeds Torre on the left-hand side. The cross comes in from the Gambian and Threlkeld at the back. Ricochets off the players there, and Towell racing over to the right-hand side. Keeps the ball in. Can't quite get past Tom Allen, but he does the next best thing and wins a throw-in. Oscar Threlkeld arriving at the right-hand side, takes it long into the area. Tom Sisante controls it at the outside of his boot, and then Burgess clears for Accrington. Comes down into the middle. Henderson harassing, wins the ball back in a good area. Almost gets the ball caught under his feet, keeps hold of possession. Now Clark, reverse passing field to Tom Sisante, turns. He's hauled off the ball there by Ben Barkley. The referee says play on. Again, very physical in the middle from Barkley. Doesn't seem to be afraid to get himself stuck in.
Yeah, he's not letting Asante turn there. He knows what a threat Asante can be if he can face up those defenders. And he did what I think he needed to do to stop Asante from breaking away there.
It's Turnbull back to Hiladki, takes a very heavy touch, slides in to keep the ball away from Dion Charles, and then Turnbull stops it going out. Was described very much as a sweeper keeper. He will use his feet and come out to join in the passing move, which might tell you a bit about the way Salford are wanting to play this season. Very fluid and on the ball. But here comes Charles into the area, goes down very softly under an Ibitore challenge. It will be a corner though for Accrington.
Yeah, it was a soft one there. I don't think the referee's ever going to give that, especially in a friendly. Bit too soft to give. I don't even think the centre forward was convinced it should have been a penalty himself, even though he was appealing for it. Salford look to defend this corner now.
Taken short by Accrington, comes down to the right hand side. Now Johnson forward in field into Allen. Allen with the cross to the back post. Sykes gets free, and he should be hitting the target from there. Got clear of his man, rounds at the back post, and then heading down past the post from that range. It's unforgivable, really. Yeah,
it should be 1-0 to Accrington. He's probably annoyed at himself. We said moments ago that Sykes and Burgess would be a huge threat in the air, and he found himself free at the back post, which is not great from the Salford defence. They'll have to shore up on that as the game goes on.
Now going up the other end though, Hunter. Not seen too much of him yet. He's got Threlkeld on the overlap, and he does find the former Plymouth Argyle man. Threlkeld back to Hunter, who's worked his way to the right. He hooks a very high crossing. Catching practice for Tony Savin, who gathers the ball. Don't know if there's something with Tom Elliott here, his shoulder not feeling quite right. Of course, last time we played here competitively, he did pick up a shoulder injury against Bradford City. Don't know if he's just landed awkwardly on it again. He looks at some discomfort down there with Dave Rhodes and Mubin, the club doctor. Again, we certainly hope that that's okay, nothing too serious.
Yeah, hopefully Tom Elliott's okay. We never like to see injuries, especially the week before the season starts.
There's going to be a change as Luke Armstrong is called by Chris Lucchetti. Although Elliott looks like he's prepared to give it another shot. Armstrong, of course, who played such a big role in that Leasing.com trophy run last season. The status of the final is still postponed. We haven't had any further update from the EFL as to when the game might be, but they are committed that it will be played, and tickets are still valid for the rearranged match once the date is announced. If it's announced and you then can't make it, there will be refunds available via the ticket office, and we'll make that clear on the website as and when there is action to take. But for now, it does still unfortunately remain postponed, as Hunter gets the ball on his right, shoots from distance, and it wasn't a bad effort really. Keeper slightly unsighted, but he does make the save.
A nice effort from Hunter. I'd like to see him do that. We've seen him score a few worldies in the past. He's not a stranger to a nice goal or a good goal. He had a chance to shoot moments ago and he gave it out wide to Threlkeld. It's nice to see him taking it on for himself from 25, 30 yards there, because he is more than capable of that.
Don't know whether it's because the ball wasn't quite pumped up right, but referee Lee Doughty insisting that we change the match ball there. Don't know if it's also part of these COVID regulations where you have to be cleaned at regular intervals. Some of the people around the ground you can see behind either goal, their job is purely wiping down balls, wiping down posts, just to keep them clean and COVID free. Hopefully it's not too much longer. We've got to contend in these conditions. No. As Accrington clear the ball away with Hughes. Low in the middle, brings it down for Towell. Then Elliott onto Tom Sisante, stretching, he can't quite control it, but Tom Clark well positioned to keep the ball away from Accrington. and gives it away. However, it will be a Salford throw down this right-hand side. Threlkeld down in front of us. Looking to take the throw in, needs a couple of options. Towel, Elliott, all up there. Towel comes short, creates himself some space and pulls it back for Clark. Clark back to Hladky, stops the ball. He's under pressure from Charles and lifts the ball out to the right, headed forward by Accrington, and then Threlkeld wins the second ball. Low to Clark, keeping the ball up, keeps it in play, sends it back forward, looking for Thomas Asante, but Burgess heads clear. Threlkeld's first to react. Now Hunter, blind, plays it forward. Support down at the back by Hughes. Forward again from Accrington. So Tom Allen takes a swing, slices the ball, but it comes off Towel. There'll be a throw in for the visitors. Here's Burgess. Maybe a strange feeling for him being here on the away side. His throw in finds Cassidy. And the ball into the middle. Hladky first time clear. Bounces in front of Thomas Asante. Naturally lose out the header to the taller Sykes, and then a high boot against Barkley. Means it will be a free kick for Accrington. Remains 0-0 as we just reached past the 20-minute mark again. Two very similar sides really, sounding each other out, and just still not really that much to separate them yet.
No, not as of yet, but I think that's only a good thing for Salford, you know, playing opposition in a higher league and living with them. I've mentioned a couple of times that they've already beaten them once in the last few months. A dangerous cross in from that left-hand side there. And
will be a corner for Stanley. Deep on the left-hand side. Again, the obvious set-piece threats are there as Burgess arrives in the area. Sykes coming in at the back post. And Matty Butcher, middle there as well. Just going to make a nuisance of himself as the cross comes in to the back post. And again, Sykes is there. Elliott rose just too early. But Sykes' header again. This time goes over the bar. And Hladky with the quick free kick, goal kick. Finds Torre on the left-hand side, advancing. Reaches halfway and clips the ball over the top, but can't find a teammate as Sykes heads away. Torre lets it bounce under pressure from Charles. And Hunter coming in, winning possession back. Back to Torre, and Torre all the way back to safety with Hladky, just outside his area. Got options short, but he decides to go back towards Torre. Just slightly misjudged that one. The ball comes to Dion Charles, turns in the middle with a looping run. And Butcher pass out to the left-hand side, controlled by Allen. And back to Burgess, closed down by Thomas Asante. Accrington have got the overlap on the left, but here they come. Burgess back to the left, cross in. Flicked away by Clark. Comes to Elliott, held off again by Butcher, who rugby tackles Richie Towell there. And this is getting a bit out of hand now. That's 3 or 4 challenges from him. He's left towel winded on the floor. Hunter out to Threlkeld, holds his hand up. You know, in a league game, he's on a yellow and a red already.
Yeah, it's a really unnecessary challenge.
For a pre-season friendly, it's really uncalled for. You know, first you can see him backing into Elliott, and then the second one, he's just stood his ground, and you know, you see it on a rugby pitch, not a football pitch.
Yeah, I think there was 2 consecutive fouls, and the second one's a nailed-on yellow card. He'll probably get the benefit of the doubt with it being a friendly, but it's not really challenges you want to see with a week to go until the season starts.
Towell, of course, who did contend with injury problems at the start of last season, sort of interrupted his rhythm a bit there. Although he did go on to make the 4th highest number of appearances in more competitions for Salford. Obviously a very key part of Graham Alexander's midfield as the former Brighton and Dundalk man. Be hoping to play a bigger role this season with someone like Jason Lowe alongside him. Gives him a bit more creativity going forward. Interestingly, I was reading on a betting company's website for how they think the table is going to finish. They were praising Salford's options going forward, but criticise the options in the middle, saying that if you look at the teams who go up, they've got players who can play through the middle. And you look, you've got Richie Tower, you've got Henderson, you've got Ash Hunter, you've got Lowe as that solid midfield player at the back. Darren Gibson's been, you know, phenomenal in the few games we have seen him. Those options are there.
Yeah, there's plenty of options. Bruno Andrade as well as one who's more than capable of playing through the middle, making things happen from the midfield. There's a bunch of talented footballers in Salford midfield, so I think they got that one wrong.
For now, Toure with this free kick on the right-hand side, looking to use his left foot to whip this ball in. Salford arrange themselves in the Accrington area. It's a good ball, headed on and away by Accrington, chased out and cleared away by Tom Allen. Out for a Salford throw high on the right-hand side. Hunter skipping over the advertising cordings to retrieve the ball from the south stand. Lays it off for Threlkeld. Takes the throw quickly to Hunter. Still up on the right hand side. Gets past Butcher, who again catches Hunter on his way down. Elliott heads the ball into the middle. Still not clear convincingly from Accrington as Tom Sasante picks out Toure. Hunter just getting back to his feet. It's Turnbull playing a ball forward, looking for Elliott. It comes off Accrington's Andrew Hughes. They do clear it as Threlkeld slides in. And then that one's given us a foul.
Yeah, it's a late challenge from Threlkeld. I didn't really catch him, but I think he knew what he was doing, just trying to stop the counter-attack.
The referee very quick to give that one. Here's Hughes for Accrington Stanley, just inside the visiting half. Lifts the ball forward, looking for the top man of Cassidy. Takes the tumble without much encouragement. Tom Sasante to Threlkeld, returns, but again Tom Sasante blocked off by Barkley, which prevented him from getting onto the return. Accrington working the ball around the back. Hughes again plays it through this time. Bounced back by Pritchard. And then Towell with a crunching challenge on Matty Butcher. Cross comes in, cleared by Salford, and played out to the right by Accrington. Just a few challenges starting to go in now. I think you certainly feel there's a sense of retribution in that one.
Yeah, I think that's what it was from Richie Towell. The game just heating up a little bit, getting slightly more aggressive, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like I've been saying, you wouldn't want to see anyone get injured with only a week to go to the start of the season, so maybe the referee might have to start issuing a couple of cards just to calm it down slightly.
Low. That's a Threlkeld. Now Haladki sends the ball long upfield. Tom Sasante is going to be the wrong player to challenge for that. Elliott was coming in and then is cleared away. Cleared up by Hughes, out for a throw on the right for Salford. Ball rolled up from the fourth official to Threlkeld. Threlkeld back to Clark. Lowe makes himself available. Out to Threlkeld. Back into Lowe and then curled round the corner looking for Tom Sasante, but Burgess heads clear and flicked on by Accrington. Around the corner from Dion Charles. Turnbull comes across to cover, sticking with Ryan Cassidy. Sees the ball out and it will be a throw for the visitors. On this left hand side, a drizzle now coming down on Upper Salford. And a through ball from Burgess through to Charles. He's shadowed by Lowe. The ball comes back to Butcher. Fluffed his cross, but it does pick out a teammate, and then Lowe comes up, clears up, and Haladki clears away. Elliott challenging in on Hughes. Knocks the ball out to this right-hand side, throw in for the Ammies. Threlkeld into Towell, controls it, back to Threlkeld. And Towell again, the Irishman trying to assert some dominance in midfield. Threlkeld's forced back to Haladki. I think that is where Accrington are making it difficult. Again, we highlighted it early on. They're going to push Salford. They're going to not give them much time on the ball. And that's what Salford is still competing with.
Yeah, they've squeezed the centre of the pitch as well, not giving Salford any time in the middle. I think I'd like to see Salford just stretch the pitch slightly, let Asante and Hunter go out wide, because I don't think the likes of Cam Burgess want to follow Asante into the channels and into the wings. I think he's always getting beat and he prefers to play him with his back to goal and in behind him. It's much easier for Burgess that way.
Henderson finds Towell. It's a very direct ball up into Elliott, who bounced it back to Henderson. And now works up the right-hand side to Threlkeld. Henderson again in the middle, finds Towell. Open up side to goal for him. And he does take the invitation, but the shot doesn't quite match. It sails into the east stands, but just that little bit of gap given, and a chance can be created that easily.
Yeah, the ball moved a little bit quicker from Salford there, and Towell finds himself a bit of space. The other player in this starting 11 that pretty much has the licence to shoot from those kind of ranges. We've seen him score some wonder goals for Salford as well. And didn't connect with that one perfectly.
I think all 5 of his goals last season were all outside the area for Richie Towell. 3 of them at least were candidates for the goal of the season, although none of them won. That went to Ash Hunter for his first goal against Bradford City in the last competitive game here. As Hughes heads away, finds Butcher in the middle. It's played switch by Accrington. Comes to Ibutore for Salford on the left though, trying to work his way forward with Hunter. Hunter is challenged by Sykes. Comes back to Torre. All the way forced back to Hladky, just outside the area. Apologies for any bad language you might have picked out there. Again, one of the, I think, markers of the game as it is in these circumstances. Hladky forced to go long eventually. Sykes heads away. Accrington back in possession with Barkley. Then Elliott wins it back. Finds Henderson. Turns. He's always got a couple of yards around him, Ian Henderson. He bursts forward now. Elliott nearly finds him with the back heel. Would have been a good move had it come off. Henderson still giving chase. Wants to win the ball here. It's cleared out into the south stand. It will be a throw-in for Salford. Just under 15 minutes to go until the break and still goalless. Still not much to learn from the half either.
No, still nothing major. You couldn't say it's one side has been better than the other in this half. I think Salford growing into the game slightly, starting to play some nicer football and getting forward in good opportunities like they are now.
Hunter streaming forward. Plays the ball behind Henderson. Can't quite keep it in play. But they're making things happen. I think one of the things that Graham was keen to highlight when we spoke to him last Saturday after the Preston games, that we were creating chances, and when I talked to people about that game during the week, we probably had 75-80% of the chances against Preston North End, despite the score, and it did just come down to clinical finishing. Ultimately, Preston more clinical than Salford.
Yeah, and I think in this game today as well, Salford have been in some good opportunities in some good areas, but it's just been a loose touch or a loose pass in the final third, which you can put down to pre-season rust and early season rust even. You have to expect that will be ironed out of the game come the start of the season next week.
What's been markedly interesting as well is Threlkeld comes on the right hand side, gets inside of his man well. Now he finds Henderson. And again, he's got 4 Accrington players around him, but he's always got a yard of space as Towell lays it off. Threlkeld, cross comes in, glanced away by Ross Sykes, but Hunter on the left hand side always challenging. Accrington will now look to break, and the ball trickling out took a deflection, and they probably could have made a bit more of that. But again, just stepping up the intensity in the final third. Salford creating those half chances, and like I said, it's just that loose ball away. Going back to the opponents that Salford have played, and the point that I was going to make, the marked differences from Crewe to Lincoln to Accrington. The opposition have got progressively stronger, more physical and bulkier, as Ash Hunter shown a yellow card. It was a late challenge on the far side there. It wasn't quite the rugby tackle we saw earlier from Ben Barkley, but teams have become more physical, and that's what we're going to come up against in League Two again. You're going to get the opponents who are going to be big, physical, hard to play against, and then you're going to have the opponents who play better football. So it's just preparing Salford for those different types, I feel. Yeah,
that's the job of pre-season, I think, and they will have had that in their mind when they were preparing their pre-season games, is to get themselves ready for all types of games. Obviously, Accrington, this game has been a bit more physical, a bit more aggressive, and there's plenty of teams that do play like this in League Two. So it's important that Salford get a good taster of this before they go back into the season. Good taster of what it's like to play against a physical team that press hard, close you down, don't give you anything in the air, and are a real threat going forward in the air as well. That sounds like a lot of League Two teams to me.
Seems strange the way that the season is going to begin, though. Like we've said many times, Carabao Cup round 1 against Rotherham next Saturday. That's followed by Manchester United under-23s in the EFL Trophy group stage on Wednesday the 9th here at the Peninsula, and the first league game against Exeter 2 weeks today. Almost as it should have been when lockdown happened, except we're due to play Exeter away. The Grishams will make the trip back here, beating the playoff final last season by Northampton. Toure receives possession on the left, and Salford trying to knock it around. But what to think about the start? Obviously, there's a lot of fixtures to get in and get played. We'll see a lot of midweeks.
Yeah, I think, as you said, there's a lot of games to be played in September. It's going to be a big change for the players to go from not playing very much to playing, as you said, pretty much every weekend and every midweek, with some interesting games, some tough games in and around there as well. So they're going to have to get off to a quick start and be ready for the season.
Turnbull under pressure from Charles, who keeps hold of possession and then fires a ball wide of the near post. But doesn't look too dangerous, but you may be thinking, is Turnbull dealing with that before it gets to that situation?
Yeah, he maybe got the better of Turnbull there as the ball went in behind him. Going back to the beginning of the season, as you just mentioned, I think the United under-21s game stands out as an interesting fixture for Salford, given Salford's owners that the United Academy is where the Class of 92 was born, of course. Now the club that they own play against the academy where they began. It's probably a marked fixture in their calendar as well.
Again, that game will be available to watch on our streaming service for £10. Accrington win the ball back high upfield. Cross goes in. It's dealt with by Turnbull, but given away to Barkley, who stabs a shot wide. Butcher, sorry, not Barkley. And it will be a goal kick to Salford.
I think some of Graham's words at half-time might include tightening up defensively slightly. They've been a little bit loose at the back, allowing some chances that they probably wouldn't normally allow.
Of course, Ash Easton is on the bench. Salford, he's played a lot of the games so far. Accrington giving someone treatment. Are they making the change? It's Matty Butcher who's just come off. Joe Pritchard's been told to drop in to midfield. The ball goes forward from Hladky. Flicked on by Elliott, but it comes down to Burgess. Sends the ball back the other way. Charles has got in behind Turnbull, puts the ball into the middle, but his teammate Ryan Cassidy not quite up on the same wavelength. Ball played forward by Toure. I don't think they have brought anyone else on yet. Accrington, have they?
No, I've not seen anyone come onto the pitch, Will.
Just Butcher comes straight off, try and tot the light blue shirted players up. It's Threlkeld, his ball read by Pritchard. Pritchard's block coming to Burgess. Then Elliott on the edge of the area lays it off for Towell. Richie Towell trying to feed it through for Threlkeld, blocked. And then Burgess seems to be playing in a left back position, gets forward quite often. It's ball up to Charles, but wild time challenge by Jordan Turnbull. Sees that ball out. Very patient not to dive in. The centre back.
Great challenge from Salford's new centre half there, well timed, recognised the danger and put it out when he had the chance. After a great season in League Two with Northampton last season, you're hoping he can push on and produce something of a similar form for Salford.
Hughes playing the ball forward for Accrington, headed back by Threlkeld to Hladky. No signs of movement on the Accrington bench. So playing with 10 men for now, still. It's Jason Lowe. Advancing for Salford, finds Elliott, who turns, ball behind Brandon Thomas Asante. I suppose can be forgiven for these being new partnerships up top. Of course, Thomas Asante and Elliott not having too much game time together at the back end of last season. So Wilson, Andrade, Hunter, Tom Sasante was the favoured front four. Wilson in that as well. It's Towell trying to play the ball forward. Blocked by Accrington. It comes to Low in the middle. Seems like Salford getting more of a grip on the midfield at the moment. It's Low. Out to the right for Threlkeld in a bit more space. Accrington very narrow. Threlkeld feeds the ball down the right for Elliott. Being shadowed by Burgess. Trying to create some space. Comes back off him rather unfortunately, as his through ball was blocked. And it will be a throw in for the visitors deep on the left hand side. 5 minutes to go till the break and still goalless.
Yeah, just a bit unlucky from Tom Elliott on the near side there. The right idea with the pass, which deflects back off him and goes out for a throw in.
Clark's header finds Towell. Ball out to the right, can't pick out Elliott. And Burgess with the throw. Back to Hughes, the captain. Looking out to the right hand side, finds Sykes. Sykes striding forward, lifting the ball high down the middle. Looking for Cassidy, backing into Clark. Didn't win the ball. Now Turnbull, Henderson, Low. Slips as he sends the ball forward, looking for Thomas Sasante. Getting cut out by Sykes. As fluid as Brandon Thomas Sasante is, he's not the right sort of player to be aiming these balls forward for.
Yeah, he is a threat in those channels, but obviously, as you said, he's not got that high. It's got to be a good ball to pick him out. I think it's fair to say where Salford have come short, Accrington Stanley have done well in this game. They've defended quite well so far. While Salford have missed a few passes and misplaced a few touches, Accrington have made sure to pick up on all those second balls and played it out from the back quite well. So I think it's 50-50 in the Accrington Stanley final third at the minute.
It's still down to 10 men for now. I don't know if John Coleman's just seen the half out to see if Butcher can come back on with a bit of ice. As Elliott comes forward and finds Threlkeld. Threlkeld up to Towell. Still on the right hand channel. Towell back to Threlkeld. Now the cross comes in. It's an easy take for Savin in the end. Of course, the other option is, are they practicing playing with 10 men? I suppose there's no reason why you couldn't, but
it's definitely a possibility. It'd be a unique way of practicing in pre-season, but you never know.
Got to be prepared for all outcomes and eventualities. Ball back to Savin. More of a spectator in the last few minutes.
Yeah,
anything else?
I think you'd like to see Salford in the second half pick up the intensity a little bit. With it being the last pre-season game, you want to see them step up into that slightly higher gear and prove that they're ready.
Threlkeld's a good touch to take him forward. Now he slips in Tom Sasante on the right. Ball back to Threlkeld. Now Towell. Torre just holding off, making the run into the area. Pulling in line with Low at the moment, in possession. Back for Clark. Clark now to Towell on the right hand side. He's caught by Allen. There'll be a free kick for Salford on the right hand side. Towell back for Low. Now Salford trying to stretch Accrington and work it around the back. Henderson infield into Low. Curls the ball forward. Sykes gets there. Not rather unorthodox, the clearance. As Low wins it back. Towell taking over possession in the middle. He's only got Torre out wide. Ash Hunter come off the pitch too for Salford. It's Henderson into Towell. Towell lifts the ball to the right hand side. Threlkeld across goal, headed away by Hughes. And Henderson coming in. He's just blocked. It'll be a goal kick. I think Salford are down to 10 men as well. Now Ash Hunter on the field.
Yeah, they are. Well, Ash Hunter's come off.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outfield. So it's 10 versus 10.
Maybe in goodwill from Salford, giving it as a friendly.
Well, he's not even on the bench, Hunter, so I don't know if he's gone down the tunnel for treatment.
An injury. He didn't seem to be injured from what I was watching.
Or I don't know if the referee, instead of showing them red cards, maybe just said enough's enough. Told them to maybe take a sin bin until half time and calm down. Not quite sure that. Pre-season football develops its own rules. A bit like playground football. It's Towell. Hunter's come back out now with the jacket on, taking socks and shin pads off. Maybe it is a sanction by the referee, because it is the two players who were having good chunks out of each other. It's Turnbull into Henderson. Henderson back to Towell, Low, and now Turnbull up to Towell. The Irishman looking for a way forward. There's a whistle from the referee, bang on 45 minutes, and half-time score here at the Peninsula Stadium, 0-0, and really a game that hasn't really got started or got going, and I don't think neither manager can take much from that first half, to be honest.
No major happenings so far in the game. Both teams feeling each other out for large portions of the game and then cancelling each other out for the rest of the game. So we do go in 0-0. As I said, you'd like to see Salford come out with a bit more intensity in the second half, try and push forward and move the chains a little bit faster than they did in the first half and see what they're capable of going forward. But as of yet, yeah, nothing really to separate the two teams, even in performances and goals.
We'll be back with you just before 4 o'clock for the second half. In the meantime, do check out the website for season ticket packages and deals. Just to run through the start of the season with you again. So next Saturday we host Rotherham United in round 1 of the Carabao Cup. That's at £10 for a match pass, as it is behind closed doors. That can be watched on laptop, desktop, mobile or tablet using a mobile web browser. And a similar story on Wednesday the 9th of September, when Manchester United under-23s visit in the EFL Trophy group stages. 2 weeks today, the league campaign kicks off with a home game against Exeter City, so 3 home games in a week in that first week. Now for season ticket holders, you will be asked to redeem an access code, which will come to you by method. Keep an eye on the website for how that will be. And again, you can watch that on desktop, laptop, mobile or tablet through a suitable web browser. Please do not try to attempt to buy a match pass if you intend to watch on smart TV or games console, as it will not work. And again, all the details are available on the website. Match passes for each game will be £10 a game, or if you buy a season ticket, works out for renewed standard season tickets about £6.96 a game. So cheaper for concessions, and then for new adult season ticket holders it's about the £7 mark. But again, all the details on the website, salfordcityfc.co.uk/tickets, and we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes or so. Midfield in Ash Hunter, and then Accrington very sportingly withdrew Matty Butcher, so that it was a level game, as opposed to what usually happens in pre-season if a player is asked to leave the field. Usually just make a sub, but Lee Doughty doesn't seem to want to do that, so 10 versus 10 is how we'll continue. There's been a change for Salford as well. Going off is Brandon Thomas-Asante, and coming on is Tyler Golden at right back. So the 10 for Salford is Václav Hladký in goal, Tyler Golden right back, Tom Clark and Jordan Turnbull centre backs, with Ibi Toure left back, Oscar Threlkeld, Richie Towell and Jason Lowe's midfield 3, with Ian Henderson the captain and Tom Elliott the 2 front men. Henderson playing just behind Elliott, it looks like. No changes for Accrington. There is one actually, sorry. Just work out what that is. Coming on is Trialist A, as he's called on the team sheet. And he's come on in a right centre-back position. Toure takes a throw, finds Elliott, being chased by Trialist A. And Toure plays the ball over the top, headed away by Andrew Hughes for Accrington Stanley. Toure puts the ball in the air, headed down by Henderson. It's too far in front of Towell. You can see him nearly slipping on the field there. The drizzle coming down heavier now, and the conditions not too nice out there, Matt. Yeah, the weather has got progressively colder and worse as we go on, but this is what we call a typical Salford summer's day. Accrington just enjoying some possession at the moment as Trialist A receives the ball on the right-hand side. Making his way up over the halfway line. He's not got too many options. Lifts it forward now, gives it away to Turnbull. Under pressure from Ryan Cassidy. He holds off the Accrington striker, pulls the ball back for Hladký. Hladký's clearance cut out by Trialist A. Henderson nips in, and he slips as he tries to get round the Accrington trialist. So Ross Sykes, who's gone off for Accrington, who was a large part of Accrington's threat from the set pieces from the corner. You remember he had those 2 chances at the back post. Ross Sykes, giant of a man. Well followed. Here comes Henderson. Being very closely tracked by Accrington's number 10, Joe Pritchard. Accrington again turning the ball over high upfield, quick to close Salford down. Salford dealing with that one. Elliott gives the ball away there to Cam Burgess. Jason Lowe puts a sliding challenge in on Pritchard. Accrington remain in possession. Trialist A brings it to the right hand side. Callum Johnson. Talk about it being wet. You weren't at Stockport on Tuesday, but that was extremely wet at Edgeley Park. Just see a little bit of spray starting to come off the field as Towell threads a lovely ball through for Toure. In goes the cross. There's Elliott. Came off Cameron Burgess instead, and it will be a corner for Salford. A very well worked move, starting with that lovely ball through from Henderson up for a bit. Toure on the left hand side, and the usual high quality deliveries we've come to expect from the Gambian. Yes, sublime cross from Toure. That is his forte. Those deliveries into the box in that danger area, in behind the defenders, but too far for the keeper to come and collect it. Unfortunately, Elliott couldn't get a great connection with the ball, or any at all. Now this tall Accrington defence will match up Salford as Toure plays it short for Towell. The corner comes in. It's just behind Turnbull. Threlkeld slipped, and that'll let Dion Charles bring the ball clear. Golden wrestling his man to the ground. The free kick does go in Accrington's favour. They'll look to take it quickly. It's clipped over the top. It's just behind Tom Allen. And then Lowe scampering out with him. Finds Towell. And Salford back in possession. Toure, another player with a big season ahead of him. By far and away Salford's longest serving player now at the club, and he impressed so much in his first EFL season. Just his second one, has he got some pressure to match up to those same levels? Yeah, I think Toure is one of those players who you can rely on his
so much consistency during his time at Salford. He seems to be progressing and getting better and better with experience and time in the squad. You'd expect him to push on and have another good season at left back for Salford with all his attributes.
Accrington knocking the ball around in the middle. Still 0-0 in this game. Played 50 minutes. Trialist A. Pass up the right-hand side, pulling it back for Ben Barkley. His through ball unable to find a teammate. And comes back to Václav Hladký. Signed from St Mirren on a 2-year deal in the summer. As he said in his welcome interview, very high ambitions here at the club, matching those of Salford. Wants a promotion every year, he said. And, this year, a lot of people's now the bookies starting to place the odds and place the bets, and Salford turning up as favourite for a few. It's not unfounded.
Yeah, I think that's the target for Salford this year. They're setting their sights on playoffs, or well, they're probably setting their sights on automatic promotion. And
here come Accrington, like he's made himself big, and the referee
he's given a penalty to Accrington.
He's given the penalty for the late challenge by Golden.
It looked like a late challenge. Tough to see from our angle. The referee seemed quite sure of it and giving the penalty.
Cassidy straight over to pick the ball up. Not looking at his highlights, Hladký doesn't seem to be too bad when it comes to saving and stopping the spot kicks. Coming up against Ryan Cassidy from 12 yards to give Accrington the lead in this pre-season friendly. It's a long run up on his right foot, sends Hladký the wrong way. Very powerfully struck, well hit penalty, and Accrington take the lead here at the Peninsula Stadium. Yeah,
he made no mistakes with that penalty. That was no joke as he rifled it in the top right hand corner, and a bit of a frustrating goal for Salford to give away. They've not conceded many chances in the opening stages of this second half. It was similar to the first half, and then a sloppy bit of play at the back leads to a penalty, and as we say, Cassidy made no mistake in rifling that one into the top right hand corner. Now the question is, how can Salford reply? Can they come forward? Maybe come back from a goal down?
Low. Play the ball back, and Clark back to Hladký. I think there's a good word to use there. Frustrated from Salford. There's not really been much in the game. So it wouldn't be surprising if a penalty is what makes the difference, but there's a lapse in concentration from Hughes there. Towell looking to seize upon it, and Low. Now over to Torre on the left-hand side. Takes a touch inside his man. Returns a pass in field to Thraukheld. Now playing that holding midfield role. And Towell leaning back, switches possession out to the left for Torre. Again taking on his man. Gets the cross in. It's missed by Hughes. It comes out to the left-hand side and slammed away by Tom Allen upfield. Turnbull there to retain possession for Salford. Looks like Luke Armstrong is going to be coming on against his former side. It's Clark, up to Towell, and then Golden in field for Thraukheld. One of those players who's adaptable. Will he take up a right-back position this season, or will he be in the centre? When you look at the likes of Darren Gibson not involved today, you do think Thraukeld's going to be somewhere else. Namely that right-back position where he's played most of the pre-season. Towell, 1-2 with Henderson, return to Low, and Golden just a bit behind play there. Low's ball out for a throw into Accrington on the left.
Yeah, I think coming into the season we can expect to see Thraukheld as a starting right back. You'd imagine that holding midfield spot would be occupied by someone like Low or Gibson, seeing as Graham has taken a liking to Oscar Thraukheld since he broke into the team last season.
Doing some stats on Oscar. Actually, his clean sheet ratio is very impressive from last year. Can't quite remember off the top of my head, but looking as well, he really did struggle to get into the team in, certainly the first few months, and then December, January, February, he had a very good run in the side. So again, a player who'll be hoping to make a bit more impression on the side this year if he can. Particularly with Scott Wiseman moving on to Lincoln Red Imps in Gibraltar, moving abroad. That position is there for him to make his own As Torre's done on the left. Low. Cross to Haladki in the area. Again, that high press from Accrington, but Haladki feeds it for Golden. Golden up to Towell, in infield to Threlkeld, and this is where Salford work the space. It's a lovely ball by Threlkeld to pick out Torre on the left, gets inside of Johnson easily, now striding forward. Salford have numbers. Torre still going, hits the low one, deflected off Hughes, and it will be a corner, and that's better.
Yeah, more good play from Torre coming forward there. As you said, got on the inside of the wing quite easily there, makes a chance for himself and takes responsibility on his own shoulders, gets deflection and wins the corner, which is another good opportunity for him. We've just mentioned how good his deliveries are. Salford have got some big men in the box, and this could be a chance for Salford to level the scores.
Substitution for Accrington Stanley. Coming off is Tom Allen, and on in his place is Jack Bolton.
Salford look to be lining up a short one here.
In the preferred corner choice for Graham Alexander's side throughout pre-season. Let's go shorts. Now in from Towell, the outswingers, headed away by Burgess, back out to Towell. He's got time to control on the right wing there. Now he pulls it back. Torre still available on the right. Injects the ball to the back post. Clark pushing into Johnson, but Johnson standing his ground. Unless that ball go behind Harmsley for the goal kick to Accrington. But speaking of Bolton, in the last couple of pre-season friendlies not quite gone the way. Ian Everett says that he reckons he needs 3 or 4 more players in. They've already made 15 signings. Are they going to be Salford's big competitors? And then you've got the likes of Tranmere, Southend, the other 2 teams relegated. Or is it going to be Bradford? Is it going to be Mansfield, Cheltenham again, Exeter again? Who do you think the big competitors are going to be?
I mean, it's always difficult to call with League Two. You know, it can go a million ways. Obviously, Bradford were a brilliant team last season. Bolton coming down from League One, as you mentioned, 15 signings is no joke, but they have lost some key players as well, and they're in quite uncertain times themselves. It's a really difficult one to call. Tranmere might be a good shout. I think Bradford take my liking for the Salford's real competitors for those automatic promotion spots for next season. Obviously, as I say, things can always happen. There's going to be multiple teams challenging. No one ever really runs away with the league in League Two.
Golden breaking away on the right-hand side, gets the touchline, and the cross comes in, and Armstrong, the stanchion behind the goal, still rattling from that shot. Plenty of power. It's not quite the accuracy, but no doubt if that was a little bit lower, that would have been the equaliser. Again, not coming from much, but it was a chance.
Yeah, the first or second time really that Salford have picked someone out from those wide positions as well. I remember Henderson getting an opportunity in the first half, and that's probably the second one that's fallen there to Armstrong. And as you mentioned, a little bit lower, we might be talking about 1-1. Big chance for Salford there.
There's Clark on the right-hand side, finds Towell. Towell back to Tom Clark, and now across to Jordan Turnbull. 3 for Lowe. Lowe to Threlkeld. Threlkeld back to Lowe. Turnbull again. Turnbull back to Haladki. And Haladki over to Clark. Just roaming forward. Up into Armstrong. Clattered from behind. But squares the ball anyway to Threlkeld. Again, the space opening up as Armstrong makes the run through. Torre looking up into the area. Curls the ball. Not quite enough power for Henderson. Cleared away by Hughes for Accrington, moaning himself that he hasn't got the players in the right position. I think particularly the goal scorer Cassidy. I think he wants it to be wider. There will now be another change for Accrington. Gets Callum Johnson. Is he coming off? And on in his place is Harvey Rogers.
You wonder if Graham Alexander will start making changes for Salford as well now. Perhaps give players rest or try something different as we progress through this second half.
Here comes Towell through the middle. Again, Torre's clear on the left-hand side. Henson's made the run out as Torre curls the pass into Armstrong. Being very closely marked by Hughes from behind. Loses possession. Rolled out to Burgess on the left-hand side. I think signed a 2-year deal at Accrington. Just gone through releasing him after I think you can call his loan spell last year successful. Certainly was a consistent, strong performer for Salford. I think when you bring the likes of Clark in and Jordan Turnbull, you know, maybe it just wasn't quite there for him.
Yeah, I think he was definitely successful. A player that I liked very much at Salford, and I think you would say the same, Will. But Salford, as you mentioned, have brought in some good centre-half options, two of them playing right now. Turnbull, as we mentioned, had a good season last season with Northampton and was a key feature in helping them progress to League Two. So, I mean, Graham probably enjoys the options that he's got at centre-half, and though it is a shame to lose one, you've got to look at what you've got.
Good ball by Lowe, Threlkau now to Torre. Torre into the middle, Armstrong again with a chance. With the outside of his boot, I think benefits of the doubt as the referee sees. If that one goes wide, it's actually a corner for Salford. It's slick again.
Yeah, Salford changing up slightly rather than the swinging crosses into the box. They're now trying to feed it into the box, into the feet of the likes of Henderson and Armstrong. And it's worked quite well for them so far. They've made a couple of chances that way. Won themselves a corner in this instance.
And Towell standing over the ball in the quadrant. Torre short. There it goes. And Torre with the outswinger. Plenty of blue shirts back to deal with that one. And headed away ultimately by Ryan Cassidy for Accrington. A host of visiting substitutions have now just turned up down the touchline to warm up as Jason Lowe clatters Dion Charles on the right hand side. It will be a free kick for Stanley. In good position out on that right. What Graham Alexander and Chris Lacketti's thoughts are right now. Left on the bench for Salford is Nick Hayes, Ash Easton, Bruno Andrade, Martin Smith. A few stats back by Pritchard. A lot of men forward and bodies forward for Accrington Stanley as Pritchard's cross comes in. Dealt with by Salford as Threlkau breaks away. He's got Henderson out on the left-hand side as well. Creates himself a bit of space and doesn't quite get the switch right. Only comes to Pritchard. Threlkau blocks it and stops the counter. Now here comes substitute Rogers for Accrington. Pull back to Barkley. It's the trialist day. Gets away from Armstrong. And out to the left-hand side. Accrington moving forward with Bolton. And wins a throw high on the left. Just past the hour mark. 1-0 to Accrington. Goal coming from the penalty spot. Scored by Ryan Cassidy. It's Burgess with the throw. Back to Hughes. Hughes switching it out to trialist day. It's back to goalkeeper Tony Savin. Now Savin out, up into Barkley. Barkley to the right to the trialist. Trialist back to Hughes. Accrington captain finds the pass through to Pritchard. Good possession this from John Coleman's side. The ball goes long from Burgess, looking for Dion Charles. He's dragged Tom Clark out with him, but can't win a corner. Will be a goal kick, and more subs now to come from Accrington as the call comes from the bench.
Accrington getting plenty of fresh legs on in the game as we reach the hour mark now. Made a few changes, and you have to imagine Graham Alexander will start to make a couple of changes for Salford at some point soon as well.
Is Cassidy slips the ball right for Rogers. Rogers with the ball back into Cassidy, slipping on the turf. Can't get round Turnbull and Clark. Torre clears the ball forward for Salford. Armstrong holds his ground against the trialist. The ball bounces out of play. Looks like now Accrington are going to make these final changes. So 4 blue-shirted players arrive from the bench. One's wearing a number 18 who's not on the team sheet. There's not number 20 on the team sheet either. So I'm afraid we can't give you their names. Number 17, Dan Martin. Number 21 is Trialist B. Afraid they're the only two we can give you. I think by process of elimination, one's Liam Isherwood. And another would be Trialist C.
Yeah.
Or B. Coming off the fields, Joe Pritchard and Ben Barkley at least.
I'd like to see Salford get the ball on the ground and try and feed it into Armstrong a bit more often than those lob balls up to him, which he doesn't seem to be doing too well with in the last couple.
It's Torre on halfway. Ball back across to Tom Clark. Trying to get the Ammies forward. Tyler Golden coming in off the right. It's a good pass into Ian Henderson. And Torre on the overlap on this left-hand side. Now he whips the cross in. It's just behind Armstrong again. Just a yard in front of Henderson. Accrington bring the ball clear. Rogers back to the goalkeeper.
Accrington all day have dealt with the crosses very well from Salford. Salford not seeing much luck from those crosses being swung into the box, and you wonder, will they try and hit Accrington on the break, or will they try and play through the middle a little bit more and change up what they've been doing? Looks like Bruno Andrade might be getting ready to come on. We know what he's capable of on the ball.
Good to get some minutes at Stockport on Tuesday. Well, certainly one of Salford's more potent threats. Accrington with the throw in on the right hand side. Rogers, 67th minute. Picking out one of those substitutes who's just come on. Trialist B, as the team sheet has them down. Slightly frustrating as a commentator to not know who the players are. Can't really comment or say much. It's easy when you know the home side. Salford, of course, playing with no numbers, still playing in training kit as we wait for the playing kit to arrive. So hopefully it will come in the next week. I can't say it does look good, it's worth the wait, all three of them. It's Towell back onto halfway, finds Tom Clark. Clark curling the ball forward, looking for Armstrong. Burgess heads away. Here's a good signing for Accrington though. We're saying about whether he'd have a chance at Salford, but certainly in League One, I'm sure he'll do a job for Stanley.
Yeah, he had a good season at Salford, and we often said he looked like a League One or maybe even Championship level defender when he was playing at Salford, especially at the top of his game. I'm sure he'll fit in at Accrington really well, as he did at Salford.
Turnbull with the ball forward, looking for Henderson. He's flagged offside. Seemed a little bit unsure if that was the case. But as the ball goes out, it signals Salford's chance to make a change. And Bruno Andrade, as you said, Matt coming on in place of Oscar Threlkeld.
Yeah, an attack-minded change. Threlkeld's been playing that holding midfield role since the start of the second half, and Andrade comes on as a slightly more creative option. Probably see him get on the ball, and maybe this will see Salford try and play through the middle and keep the ball on the ground a little bit more, given that they've not had much success with those crosses into the box throughout the course of the game. Andrade, as you mentioned, a huge threat against Stockport. I'd like to see him reproduce that form now as well.
Like in Henderson being pushed back up top alongside Andrade and Armstrong, and Lowe and Towell for now holding midfielders, or the central midfielders. You imagine they'd be playing someone else in that if that was a three. Both sides playing with 10 men after Ash Hunter and Matty Butcher were asked to, or withdrawn. Hunter after a rash challenge in Retribution over on the far side. The referee showed a yellow, but he was actually taken off the field, and then John Coleman sportingly removing an Accrington player as well.
Surprising, as you said, that both teams weren't allowed to bring an 11th man each onto the field. It is about getting minutes under everyone's belts in pre-season.
Hughes clears the ball out to the left for Accrington. He's chased by Bolton. Andrade close to him, and then pulled back to Burgess into the middle to Hughes. Hughes out to the right hand side. One of the trialists for Accrington sending a ball forward, can't find a teammate as Hladky receives the ball at the edge of his area. It was slightly unfortunate to concede at Stockport on Tuesday. Great ball in from former Army Sam Walker and scuffed over the line. Turned over by Alex Reid in the end. Seemed to be one that came off the boot of the other player, but then nicked off the shin of Reid. And one of the photographs showing that was a change side and a strong Stockport side, to be fair. Didn't do too badly. Again, look at the players not involved. You just wonder what Salford team is going to turn up, what Salford team is going to start the season. Still so many options for Graham Alexander. It's good that he gives players minutes in different positions though, so he knows what he's got at his disposal in any outcome. It's Golden coming forward, one of the development squad players. Finds Andrade, the cross comes in, and then cleared to safety by Hughes, although Savin seems to have that one covered. Seems the ploy this year on the tactic is to have less players than last year, but of a better quality, higher calibre. As again, Savin, I don't know if he's not making the calls in there, but the defender clears in front of him.
Yeah, it was a dangerous ball from Bruno Andrade, bouncing right in front of the defenders. Can sometimes be difficult to deal with those types of balls.
Torre on the right hits a low cross, ripples the netting, but it has only found the side. Go down as a chance. Whether he meant it as a shot or a cross, only he'll be able to tell you.
I think, as you were just touching on there, Will, the strength and depth of the squad still remains, and it's not as big a squad as it was last year, but the quality seems to have gone up a notch. There's still plenty of options all over the field in every position, which is great for Graham Alexander. He's got many ways that he can manipulate the players in the squad to create different teams and different looks for this Salford team. It's an exciting option for the manager and for the Salford team going into next season.
Lodgate pushing the ball out to the right hand side, picking out Golden. Former Wigan man plays the ball forward, cleared away again by Hughes. His job literally seems to be a very sweeping one at the back there, just deal with anything that comes towards you. It's Golden, finds Turnbull. Turnbull in for Henderson. Quickly being hounded by Hughes. Gets it back off low. Now Turnbull on the left. Dummies his man, plays the ball into Henderson. Then he's challenged. And Accrington looking to go on the break. A well-timed challenge by Tom Clark to deny trialist B getting forward for Accrington. Salford now back in possession. Pass out to the right for Golden. Field to Clark. Speaking of the development squad, lost out 2-1 away at Marine last night. So the ball goes through the middle, just too much on it for Bruno Andrade to get there. Marine in that game last night taking the early lead, 2-0 up, and then a late consolation coming, and despite a late barrage, just couldn't quite find a way through against the Northern Premier League side. Towell heads the ball on in the middle. Turnbull turns it back to Hladky as Ash Easton, Dan Jones and Martin Smith make the way out to warm up. Maybe more changes to come for Salford. Just over 50 minutes to go and still 1-0 to Accrington from that penalty.
Yeah, still not much in the game besides the penalty, as you mentioned, but I think credit where it's due to Accrington. They've dealt with what Salford have thrown at them quite well throughout the game and defended quite well. As Henderson wins the penalty.
Free kick won by Henderson
on
this near touch. Accrington are going to change the goalkeeper. Don't know if this might be Liam Ishwood. 13 does tend to be a second goalkeeper's number. Just see when he comes on, the fourth official put the board up and then didn't turn it so anybody could see it, which isn't very handy. Rather defeats the object. Salmon comes off and 13, Liam Ishwood replaces him between the sticks for the final 15 minutes of this game.
Not unusual to see during pre-season give both goalkeepers a chance.
Salford short with the free kick, comes back to Clark. Clark over to Golden. And works all the way to Andrade. Armstrong back to Andrade, bursts through the middle, gets round his man, still going Bruno Andrade. Can't get past Hughes, but it does fall kindly for Henderson. And then Towell with the attempted placed shot to the top corner. Couldn't quite get the right bend he would have wanted. But Andrade initiating that. It's a great run from him. We saw it a number of times against Stockport.
Yeah, great work from Andrade off that wing. Burst of pace and great control and dribbling with the ball to beat a couple of men and make some space for himself. Maybe tried to go past one too many. But the ball still fell nicely for Rich Towell on the edge of the box, and a good chance for Salford created by the substitute Bruno Andrade.
I suppose similar to what we've said about a couple of the others this season, or the start of the season particularly, how important is it going to be for the Portuguese? Because he arrived from Lincoln in January, he's yet to score for Salford, but he was a big part of that attacking lineup before lockdown.
Yeah, he was, and he was a part of Salford changing the way they attack and changing the way they go forward with, you know, a bit more fluidity, keeping the ball on the ground and a more fast-paced passing when he came in. It was a noticeable difference, and I think that's largely down to the amount of talent and ability on the ball that he has, and I think that will continue into next season. We'll continue to see how good he is on the ball and how influential he can be in the final third for Salford.
Turnbull and Hladky exchanging some passes here. 29-year-old Czech keeper. Again, forced to go out to Turnbull. Accrington still pushing high. There's not really an outlet for the Amis as Torre is nicked at, and eventually Accrington win the ball back, but the ball forward is intercepted by Lowe. Goes back to Hladky. Now Hladky does get it clear. Armstrong comes the right side of the try list. Finds Towell in the middle. Couldn't quite get a clean pass on. Out to Andrade. Salford do put the press on, and Hughes with a wild ball. It's headed on by Burgess. Then Golden's there. Nods the ball back down to Lowe. Just holding his man off as Clark comes to take over possession. Golden. Back again to Lowe. Switches the ball over to Henderson. I think I've got to say what's unfair, as we keep saying, is 10 versus 10. It's just not right for the players. It's not a way for them to prepare. It does seem almost a waste of a game from that point. Players are having to work harder. They haven't got players in other positions. It just makes it difficult for them.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation. I mean, the players are still getting mitts under the belt, ready for the new season, and they're allowed to try new things and get themselves ready and prepared in whatever way they can. But like we've said a couple of times, it would have been nice for the referee to just allow 2 players to come back on and we play 11 aside rather than 10 aside in this second half. That hasn't been the case, but what can you do? Salford have got on with it quite well. Again, still not much between the two teams in this second half either.
Still just that penalty in the 52nd minute from Ryan Cassidy, which separates them on a score basis. Here's Jordan Turnbull on halfway as we approach the final 10 minutes of Salford's final pre-season game. Kick off in a week's time against Rotherham United in round 1 of the Carabao Cup here at the Peninsula Stadium, and it is the former Miller, Richie Towell, who's just passed the ball left for Turnbull. Turnbull for Armstrong. Torre still clear on the left, but Armstrong puts that ball too far in front of him. You can hear the frustration from Armstrong as well. I think he knows he should have done better there.
Yeah, I think that frustration grows throughout the game when you've not been as successful or fluid as you would like going forward, and every misplaced pass suddenly becomes more frustrating than the last one, and the same for every bad touch that you take. Salford got to keep their calm. They're still getting forward quite well at times.
Towell lifting the ball forward, Armstrong holding off Hughes. Ball does run down the left and will be a throw for Accrington into the try list. Picks the ball up, trying to take a few steps forward, which Ian Henderson pointing out to Lee Doughty. Burgess slams the ball high upfield. Clark rises. His header finds Torre, but he's on the back foot. Has to go back to Hladky under pressure. Does turn out of trouble and plays a pass out to Tom Clark, and that's where you're going to see the difference with the keeper who likes to play. Chris Neal, Kyle Leather, and they've got the strong attributes, but with the ball at their feet, weren't as strong as Hladky is going to be in potential. When you can play out from the back like that, you're not panicking and clearing the ball. It just helps the outfield players. There's less pressure on them, to be competing.
Yeah, a couple of really nice bits of confident footwork and outfield play from the new Salford goalkeeper there, which, as you said, is going to help them going forward in terms of bringing the ball out from the back and passing out from the back for next season. It's something that they can add to the way they play and something that they can capitalise on with such good confidence with his feet.
Ball just rolls in front of Tom Clark from Ibi Touré's pass. It's worked out to the right to Tyler Golden now. Andrade back to Golden on halfway. One of the development squad players who we might see more of in the Cups and EFL Trophy, perhaps. And we'll be aiming to make league appearances. As we've promised on commentary, the development squad project is nearly ready to go. Just a couple of bits to change and add to it, and that will be out shortly. So know more about who they are and who signed up. We've spoken to Warren Joyce, the development coach. Golden now surging forward, gets past his man, still going onto his right foot. Shot blocked in the sensitive area, I think it's fair to say, by Hughes. But Andrade now coming in the second wave onto his left, hits the shot straight down the throat of Liam Isherwood.
And he looks lively on that wing again. Andrade making things happen, trying to take a bit of responsibility for himself, takes that one on himself. He's finding pockets of space and coming in off the wing, and the Accrington defenders aren't sure who's picking him up or what to do with him since he's come on.
Armstrong, Towel, trying to thread the ball through for Andrade, who was on the overlap but blocked by that Accrington backline again. Comes back with Hughes, shaking off that block as he curls a pass forward into the Accrington number 20. Work to the left, Bolton. Bolton in field, playing the 1-2 again. Can't get past Golden, who stands strong, wins the ball back and feeds it into the feet of Andrade. Armstrong turns, can't get away from the burst of pace there from the Accrington number 18, but it is a foul. And Armstrong wins the free kick into the final 8 minutes of this game. Salford City 0, Accrington Stanley 1. The final pre-season friendly for the Ammies. There are some round 1 Carabao Cup games today going on for the teams who have players away on international duty. In the coming weeks they've been allowed to change. Bit of early sights on some of our League 2 competitors. Preston beating Mansfield 4-0. Stevenage 3, Portsmouth 3. And then the other 2 games is Blackburn Rovers 3, Doncaster Rovers 2, and Stoke City 0, Blackpool 0. There are no replays in cup competitions this season. They are all decided in the first tie due to the congested schedule. There's Towel in possession, pulls it back for Jordan Turnbull. Turnbull's pass forward blocked, will be a Salford throw on the left. But having a look at Stevenage, you only found out recently they were going to be in League 2, recruited very strongly for the National League. It's going to be a step up for those players, but one that I'm sure they'll be looking forward to. And you look at the likes of the lad they brought in from Colchester, Luke Prosser. You know, they've got good experience in there as Toure crosses the ball in and it's cleared. So they might just about fare okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a team to keep your eye on, certainly an interesting team. And I mean, you look at that result today, 3 each, did you say, against Portsmouth? I think they were 3-1 up at one point, so they'll be frustrated to have let that one go, but nonetheless, to live with a team like Portsmouth is still an impressive thing to do for a team like Stevenage.
And the interesting one as well, Preston, obviously they came here last weekend and won 3-1 into competitive action today, a week on from their first pre-season friendly. You know, it's a quick turnaround, and then they've got another couple of weeks until the championship kicks off, so it's very strange indeed.
Yeah, it is. I think everyone's pre-season's a bit of a mess at the moment. No one really knows quite what's going on or how to organise it with the times that we're in, but you've just got to work with what you can and do what you can to get as many games in before the season, which I think is one thing Salford have done quite well, is they have been quite congested, but they've got plenty of games in prior to the first game of the season coming up next week.
Good strength from Bruno Andrade there to hold off his man. He eventually wins Salford a free kick, which Golden pulls back for Clark. Clark across to Turnbull. Looks like he might not see these final Salford changes. Time starting to run out. It's low. Back to Turnbull. Turnbull square across for Clark. Should also find out squad numbers this week and that much anticipated captain. And Matt, from what you've seen, any thoughts from you as to who that might be?
Well, I think as we mentioned before, the man wearing the armband today is definitely a shoe in. Ian Henderson, with all the experience he's got.
Towel clips a good ball in. It nearly reaches Henderson, just glanced away from him by the Accrington trialist, and Torre picks up possession on the left. Cross comes back in, Henderson again there, but the looping header claimed by Isherwood.
Yeah, I think going back to it, you look at maybe one of the two centre halves that have played today can also be a shoe in. Look like two leader type players leading from the back. Beyond that, I think it's hard to predict, but I'd say my guess would be Ian Henderson. He's got the armband on today, 1 week before we start the season. Good pre-season under his belt. A man with the experiences that he's got would be a good man to lead Salford on next season.
It's a very important position and certainly not a bad thing to have a number of leaders within the squad. But we'll find out Graham's final thoughts during the week ahead of that kick-off next Saturday. And again, just to remind you, match passes for the Rotherham game are available at £10, and you can watch on computer, on laptop, mobile or tablet through a suitable web browser. It's www.live.salfordcityfc.co.uk to watch those games. And for information about season tickets, which do include home league games for free to watch via those methods stated before, visit salfordcityfc.uk/tickets. Jason Lowe just nutmegged there. Won't take to that too kindly from the Accrington number 20. So they look to build a final move before the end of the game, but Salford win it back. Now Andrade streaming forward. He's caught by two Accrington challenges, one of them from Burgess. Richard Towell places the ball down. He's got runs from Armstrong and Golden, but he will set this one up. Salford will do it properly. Last chance, or one of the last chances in the games, you feel?
Yeah, we're coming towards the closing stages now. It would be nice to see Salford nick a goal back. I think a draw would be a fair result. Going back to the winning of the free kick, great, confident and direct running from Andrade. He clearly feels like he's got the better of the defenders there today. It's what he's done throughout the game, but it looks like he might have picked up a bit of a knock on that left ankle.
He was caught there and did hit the deck, so I don't know if he's maybe rolled it or if he was caught. Again, as Graham alluded to last week, you don't want to be ending pre-season with injuries. You want players to hit the peak when you start the season.
Wouldn't be good.
Focus is going to be on the league. Championship Rotherham coming next week. I don't think, I'd like to be optimistic and hope for that upset, but I don't think too many will be expecting victory again against United under 23s. It's probably more of an extension. You know, we saw last season those games were always for players on the fringes and stuff to have a game, as opposed to the strong first team at that time always being played. But we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, Torre with the free kick in, it's headed away, comes back to Jason Lowe. Andrade back on the field and staying where he is. He's in quite a good position, but Golden floats the ball forward that Burgess heads away. He's been one of the standout players at the back today, Cam Burgess. It's not surprising to see, as we've already talked about extensively. So no need to revisit. But Golden now coming forward on the right. Armstrong, heavy touch, maybe not aware the Accrington player was there. He recovers, finds Clark. Now Golden has got space to roam into on the right hand side. Torre in acres of space on the left if Salford can work it out. But Towell, driving forward, finds Andrade on the right. Torre joins the attack in the area. And Andrade pulls it back for Golden. Golden switching to Turnbull, and now the options there for Torrey. Turnbull goes through for Henderson. Henderson flagged offside again by the linesman. And a free kick for Accrington to come.
Must have only been centimetres in the offside. Looked to me like Henderson was running level with trialist A. Is it trialist A?
One of the trialists.
With number
Don't think
14.
it makes too much difference. It's Ishwood now with the free kick. I make it 90 minutes on my watch as Lee Doughty checks his, blows the full-time whistle, and that brings Salford City's pre-season to a close. Narrow defeat to Accrington Stanley, the goal coming from the penalty spot in the 52nd minute. Other than that, there really wasn't that much to separate the sides. There wasn't much in the way of chances. I mean, Vasilafalaki's hardly had anything to do apart from being in possession. So the chances for Salford, Luke Armstrong, Ian Henderson have each had one or two. Richie Towell as well with a long-range effort, but you know, not too much in it. And I suppose the real proof in the pudding is going to be a week today against Rotherham and 2 weeks today against Exeter City.
Yeah, I think those are the games that Salford have got their eye on. I don't think they'll be too disappointed with the performance today. As you said, really not much in it over the course of 90 minutes. Salford had a few chances, didn't really concede too many chances. I think for the most part both teams defended quite well, which is why they ended up cancelling each other out. Salford maybe would have liked to have made a few more chances, but they are playing League One opposition. As you said, once we resume the season next week and the start of the actual league competition the week after that, those are the key games that they've got their eyes on. Those are the key games where they need to produce those top-level performances. But for what it's worth, not a terrible performance from Salford today.
As we said, kick-off in a week against Rotherham, and those match passes available to watch the game online at £10. That's live.salfordcityfc.co.uk to watch, and the pass will be available to purchase this week. You can watch that on mobile, on tablet, on laptop and desktop through a suitable web browser. If you do head to the website and click through, then that should work. More details will be published throughout the week, so do keep an eye on social media and the website for more information.